liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to DUPE. Let's get right to it, okay? Now, the Democratic Party, the Democrats themselves must think that the black demographic, the black voter, is stupid, or that we have amnesia, something we forget quick. Something has to make them think or prompt them to think that they can pull the wool over our eyes again in the next process of voting, these midterms that are coming up in November. So they come up with this harebrained scheme. Brace yourselves. They decided to bring Kamala Harris back into the limelight. So they're, putting out their fillers. They're trying to see or determine whether or not Kamala can do the dang thing this time. And to do it, they need the black vote. Now, what a lot of people are starting to recognize or is recognizing taking place in not just society, but American politics, nonetheless here in America, blacks have taken a back seat. We've sat back. We say, hey, man, you know what? Y'all gonna have at this, man. We've seen this. We just seen this show, this movie too many times. We know the music. We're tired of dancing to it. So you go on and do your thing, all right? They're trying to spur or, let's say, ignite the black base. And they think in order to do that, and the way to do that is to bring Kamala back. Now, I don't know. I don't know what make them would want to make them think that. I think that maybe they think the staffers, the campaign staffers, that blacks are enthralled or just still enchanted with the idea of Kamala Harris being, president. She'd half black and half Asian, Indian. All right. For whatever reason, they think, though, that she can get it done this time. And I'm pretty sure that they've been coaching her and, rebranding Kamala for this task. But I don't think black people are that damn dumb. I just don't. And our memories, man, we got memories like elephants. We're not going to forget something said about us or done to us or something someone don't want to do for us because they don't want to look like they're helping us from the eyes of other people. It's this white gaze thing that's taken over, man. A lot of our people, whether you're whole black, FBA, African-American, Black American, or just a black in the diaspora, you could, whatever. Yeah. Did you guys know that Kamala Harris wants to run for president? I didn't think you did. And that's why I got this clip. I want to drop this on you. Here, let's look at this clip. It's going to give us a lot of insight in terms of what's really going on with Kamala and then all of those who are supporting her bid. And it's not, I'm thinking about it. Maybe we're not. No, she's in rare form right now. All right. She's all over this, in the South in America, going through these towns and cities where blacks reside and making her pitch. She's just putting out fillers. What I think, though, is going to happen is that Kamala and her campaign and Democrats in general are going to get a rude awakening because statistics show that 75% of Democrats are dissatisfied with the Democratic Party. All right. That's on a whole. And then on another scale or another poll, 55% are just dissatisfied altogether, with not just, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the numbers are just crazy. They're through the roof. But as far as the Democrats go, those who vote Democrats have no faith in the Democratic Party. The numbers in terms of support for the Democratic Party are at an all-time low. So if she's thinking she's about to pull something off in terms of getting blacks, especially, to vote for her, to get her in the office, I think she has another thing coming, in spite of the fact that Donald Trump is in there in the White House showing his ass. you know, showing his ass. Now, if something should occur at the end of his term in 2028 and he has figured out a way not to leave, anything could happen, But at the end of that process, there, the guarantee is or supposed to be that it won't be Donald Trump sitting in that office come 2029, And again, a lot of blacks are not willing to deal with Kamala and her BS, her propaganda, her lies, her narratives, again, all procedure, all process, no progress. That is Kamala, and then that goes again for the rest of them who are part of that Democratic Party. And there are many of them. Not only are there many of them who are part of this process over progress mentality, the majority of them are on the take. They receive money from AIPAC as well. All their decisions, the decisions they make as representatives in Congress or the Senate, are encouraged by the support and donations of the AIPAC and other Israeli lobbies like J Street, other CPACs, impacts. Okay. That being said, the main issue is Kamala, but we have to understand who's pushing her to be or to want to run again for president. And not only that, but get our vote so that she can sit in that seat. Those forces we will talk about, I just mentioned, but we will talk further on or about in the next few minutes. Let's get to this clip. Before I do, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to Tapped. Okay, we appreciate your participation and your viewership. Okay, we also ask that you help us to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of April 2026. This is something that we see progress in. It is happening. Your guys' support, we ask for more support from you guys. Please like and share with others to come in here and help us reach that benchmark or that mark of 5,000. Let's get to this content because, again, you're going to have to brace yourselves for this because this is some kooky stuff. It's the kind of stuff that make Arsenio used to say, make you go, so what's really going on here? What is really going on here? Here she is. And she's being hosted by Al Sharpton, again, allegedly one of the boule, or allegedly, again, a gatekeeper in terms of black culture or whatever. This platform is the National Action Network, and it is an organization that was started by Al Sharpton.
I might. I'm thinking about it. But let me say this. I am thinking about it. But let me also say this. Look, I served for 4 years being a heartbeat away from the presidency of the United States. I spent countless hours in my West Wing office, footsteps away from the Oval Office. I spent countless hours in the Oval Office in the Situation Room. I know what the job is, and I know what it requires. I also know, one of the things that I've been doing, Rev, is, is I've been traveling the country the last year. I've been spending a lot of time in the South and many other places. And
there we go. So she has admitted that she is campaigning again. She's traveling the country for a reason. It's not just to promote this book, 107 Days or something related to that title. It's more to the point of getting them fillers out there, seeing whether or not the black demographic will support her. We know in the election that she lost with I think it was Tim Walz. Only a certain percentage of blacks represented or went to vote for Kamala. And that was more of the black woman than the black men. The black men totally just disregarded her altogether. And that also, it should be mentioned that some of the black women also disregarded her, didn't trust her because her stories didn't add up. She was trying to be more black than she actually was, in spite of the fact she went to an HBCU. Her life, though, changed. And, it didn't reflect that. You know what I mean? Let me put it to you like that. She ended up being attorney general for the state of California. And again, as attorney general, she did a lot of disservices and injustices to black men and women in the state, handing out long prison sentences and terms for just a bag of weed. All right. Not only that, but she disregarded innocent individuals who were incarcerated as a result of whatever. She refused to address those matters and issues, and bring forth these cases, these individual cases, to see whether or not these individuals were actually innocent. She turned a blind eye to that. But here she is. She's traveling all through the South right now, and we think, the reason behind it, the purpose is to put her feelers out there to see if her support is still in a state where she have enough confidence to run for the president of the United States in 2028. Again, we think that this is, it is a campaign on a low level, but it's done to, get the feel of the people, to see if more dislike her now than previously. I think she'll know soon enough. She'll learn soon enough.
And the one thing I'm really clear about also is the status quo is not working.
And why would she think that her mentioning that or wanting to come back and run for political office or president of the United States again would not have a lot of us look at her as a part of the status quo? And we don't mean just in terms of policy or bills, laws or things like that, that we always see take place that really only work against certain people, don't work for some people, but work for others. But she is a part of that status quo. In terms of politicians, here she is again, coming back with the same old BS.
And hasn't been working for a lot of people for a long time.
It ain't gonna work now.
And part of the issue is the need to get rid of some of the bureaucracy in government, and to understand that the people they don't want process, they want progress.
I just said that.
And that's the work that needs to be done. I think that, look, the American people have a right to expect that anyone who wants to run for office and be a leader, that it can't be about themselves. And what they want for themselves has got to be about the American people. And that's how I think of it. And I am thinking about it in the context of then, is who and where and how can the best job be done for the American people? That's how.
Okay, there that is. That was that clip, you guys. Again, we are under no illusions here at Tapped. We think for sure that she's going to make another bid or make another run for the presidency of the United States. In order to solidify, we think, her decision to do that, she wants to know full well what the support of the Black community will be in response to her coming out and say, hey, I'm running again. All right. Again, in my time feed, I'm getting a lot of news feeds, that the Black population, the Black demographic is not feeling Kamala Harris. All right. And then those who probably supported her in the past will not support her now, in spite of Donald Trump and the Republican Party, MAGA, or any of them. It doesn't matter. What we see African Americans, Black Americans, FBA, whatever you want to call yourself here in America doing is they're falling back. They're having them a seat with their remote, a beer, some chips, popcorn, and they're watching this stuff play out and say, it's not my fight. You guys have not represented us for decades, really ever. So what sense does it make to get involved in this process, this political or this election process? Why be involved in it? And it doesn't serve us. Now, to give us context, or to give you guys context on that, here's a bombshell. Okay. This just happened the same day, in terms of the clip I just showed you. The same day, a young brother went up there and let it be known. Here's the situation. And this was, we think, a shot directly at Kamala. So let's drop this clip in here, and you guys pay attention to this, because this is something to behold. Okay. All right, here we go. Listen to this. Well, let me finish forward that. Yeah, we with that. All right, here we go. This brother's name is Melrose. Okay, now did you guys catch that? All right, and that was a shot, and he did mention Kamala. You know, now I have another clip, and again, I'm just going to keep hitting you guys with these clips because they are content. It deals with not the content, the context in terms of what we're saying about Kamala. All right, now this is the same person. This is the same person. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, this is the same person who, when asked, will she support reparations, she couldn't even give an answer. Hold on. Now listen, she's going to give you some song and dance. She's going to take us around you. She's going to do us. She's not going to answer directly. And I tell you, it's just the word salad, some stuff she put together to say because she did not have the heart to say yes or no. We know this. We know every bit of that. I mean, what the heck are you talking about? We know this. We know about slavery. We know about emancipation. We know about the industrial, reconstruction. We know about Jim Crow. What the hell? The question to you was, what about reparations? Answer the question. The only ones who didn't start out on equal footing in this country was the African American, the black man, the indigenous black person here, in FBAs. We were the only ones. Everybody else who migrated here, they all had the same opportunity. They were all given the same opportunity, you know, to create a life, you know, to pursue, prosperity and happiness. They all did, except for African Americans. Two things. We notice when they talk politics, finance, economics in America, in the household, between families, they're either the rich or there's a middle class. Very rarely do you hear the poor. And you very rarely do you hear the poor, the middle class and the poor being discussed as one. See, there are three classes of Americans here in the United States. There is the rich, there is the middle class, and there are the poor. You cannot lump the poor with the middle class. These are two different classes. Two totally different classes. But pay attention. Now, I agree with that. So say, for instance, you gave blacks reparations in a monetary, way or sense. Respect, right? You gave each, black family that can prove that they come from, chattel slavery, that their ancestors were enslaved here in this country. You give each one of those families, the household, the head of the household, whatever, 350,000 or more, $500,000 a piece. All right, give them that money. What do you think they're going to do with that money? More than half of that money is going to go right back into the economy. So yeah, it does benefit the economy, and there ergo it benefits society. See, but see, that's the part that rubs black people the wrong way. You supposed to say, yeah, what I'm going to do is going to benefit black people. They deserve reparations. She still hasn't answered the question, but yes, they deserve reparations. And as a result of blacks receiving reparations here in this country, guess what? It will have a trickle effect. Society will see, economically speaking, gains. The economy will flourish. Okay. And that was by courtesy of Griot. We appreciate Griot for that clip. So here's the thing. And this is how we're looking at this situation. We think that Kamala Harris is being influenced to go and run again. And that influence is coming from the Israeli lobbies. Okay. And the Israeli lobbies are also influencing other Democrats, especially black Democrats, to get out there and push the idea of Kamala, being presented as a candidate for the 2028 presidential bid. All right. There's no doubt about that. We think that IPAC and other J Street and other Israeli lobbies are actually pushing for this to occur. And the reason is the agenda is see, if they believe that if our politicians, who are really their politicians, can convince us to go and vote to get her back in office, then man, the sky's the limit. If she's in there, regardless, it really doesn't matter if it's her or anyone else. Then they have greater access to the voter. That's what they're thinking. A lot of us take a lot of these black politicians. We believe that they have our best interests at heart, and that's not the truth. We have politicians. We have Jim Clyburn. We have Cory Booker. We have Hakeem Jeffries, Gregory Meeks. And all these guys, are active politicians, been in politics for a minute, and all are rich. Now, you want to go and check from when they first started, politics, and see where they were financially. You can. I'm willing to wager none of them were rich. like they are now. They make a salary of $174,000 a year. Most of them have been in politics 10 years or better. Okay. Now with taxes and everything else you have to do, you still cannot account for having millions of dollars in your bank account. Where'd that money come from? Who gave them that money? Or who gave them, inside trader knowledge or anything else that's been alleged in terms of, that exchange they're making. Okay. You help us, the Israeli lobbies, and we'll help you with, under the table stuff. But in any respect, man, we're dealing with a political party, the Democrats, as well as the Republicans, who are all corrupt, And Kamala is no different than any of the rest. She's bought and paid for also, She's bought and paid for also. So our question is, have you forgotten who Kamala Harris is? Have you forgotten what she said in the past? Have you forgotten what Kamala Harris has not done for the Black community? Though she comes to court you, she wants your vote. She wants to know if you'll put her in the White House again. And she's saying she's not going to promise you jack if you do it. All right. This is Tap. You have been tapped in. Think about that. If you have any thoughts, please drop them in the comments. Let us know what you think about this piece. And the fact that Kamala Harris wants to run for president of the United States. Will this work? Will she be able to pull it off? I don't think so. Even with the Black vote, I don't think she will be able to pull it off. But again, hey, the Black vote is not going to be something that she's going to be able to get a lot of support of or from. I'm willing to wager on that. But until next time, take care of yourselves and one another. All right.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.